Hey guys, it's Tales Beyond Veils here, and today we're going to be reading some very mysterious stories. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. The Vanishing Hour. It was exactly 2:07 a.m. when the town of Elmsworth fell silent. Not a typical silence, though. No, this was something far more natural. The constant hum of the street lights flickered off. The occasional passing car on the highway vanished, and when the wind seemed to stop, it was as if time itself had paused. Detective Sarah Blake had been awake at the time, as she often was. Her insomnia had worsened since the disappearance of her brother Adam 6 months ago. No clues, no witnesses. He had simply vanished into thin air. And that night, as she sat alone in her dimly lit apartment, the clock ticking endlessly, she felt it. A strange, bone-deep stillness. It wasn't the first time. There had been reports from across town, people claiming they lost time in the middle of the night. A full hour, gone. No one could remember what happened, and no one could explain it. It was as if the world just skipped ahead. These occurrences happened every so often, always at the same time. 2:07 a.m. People called it the Vanishing Hour. But no one had answers. Not until Sarah began to investigate. On this particular night, as the eerie stillness pressed in, Sarah stood and glanced at her wall of evidence, the scattered photos, maps, and newspaper clippings that told the tangled story of the disappearances. Most of them were just like her brother, vanished during the vanishing hour, never to return. Her phone buzzed, breaking the silence. It was a text from an unknown number. Come to Elm Street, 2:07. Her heart raced. Elm Street, the place where Adam had been last seen. She grabbed her coat and gun, and within minutes she was out the door. Racing through the empty streets of Elmsworth, the silence seemed even thicker now, more oppressive. The town looked frozen, as though it was holding its breath. When she reached Elm Street, there was no one there. Just rows of dark houses and an eerie quiet. She checked her watch. 2:07. Suddenly, the street lights flickered once, twice, and then blinked out entirely, plunging the street into darkness. Sarah's hands instinctively went to her gun as she scanned the area, her heart pounding in her chest. Out of the shadows, a figure emerged, a man, tall and gaunt, his face hidden beneath a hood. He moved slowly toward her, each step echoing in the unnatural stillness. "Who are you?" Sarah called out, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her veins. "Did you send me that message?" The figure stopped a few feet away, and in the dim moonlight, she could see his face, pale, thin, with eyes that seemed too deep, too dark. He smiled, but it was cold, void of any warmth. "You've been looking for answers, Detective," the man said, his voice smooth, almost hypnotic. "I'm here to give them to you." Sarah's grip on her gun tightened. "Where's my brother?" The man's smile faded. "He's gone, just like the others." "Gone where?" Sarah demanded, stepping forward. "What's happening during the vanishing hour? Why do people disappear?" The man tilted his head, as if considering her questions. "Time is not what you think it is, Detective. There are cracks in it, fractures where only one reality bleeds into another. The vanishing hour is one of those cracks." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "Another reality?" The man nodded slowly. "When the hour strikes 2:07, the boundaries between worlds weaken. Some of us step through." "Step through," Sarah echoed, trying to wrap her mind around what he was saying. "And the people who disappear, are they trapped in this other reality?" The man's expression darkened. "They aren't trapped, Detective. They're lost. Once you cross the threshold, there's no coming back. The rules are different on the other side." Sarah's heart pounded in her ears. How do I get there? How do I find him? The man's eyes flickered with something like pity. You don't, detective. You can't. Before Sarah could respond, the air around them began to shift. The ground trembled ever so slightly, and the sky above seemed to ripple like water disturbed by a stone. She could feel it. The vanishing hour was about to end. You'll have to decide, detective, the man said softly, taking a step back into the shadows. Stay in your world, or cross into ours. Sarah blinked, and in that moment, the man vanished, leaving only the stillness behind. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from the unknown number. 2:07 a.m. tomorrow. Decide. She stared at the message, her mind racing. If what the man said was true, if the vanishing hour was some kind of gateway between worlds, then Adam wasn't gone forever. He was still out there, lost on the other side. But could she find him? And if she did, would she ever be able to return? The silence around her slowly lifted as the streetlights flickered back to life. It was over. For now. But tomorrow, when the clock struck 2:07 again, she would have to make her choice.
And she wasn't sure if she was ready for what waited on the other side.
Next chapter, The Forgotten Key. No one ever paid much attention to the old bookstore on Willow Street. It was a dusty, forgotten relic from another time, wedged between a coffee shop and a thrift store. People passed by it every day, but few ever ventured inside. It wasn't until the day of the strange delivery that Emma Harper, a regular at the coffee shop next door, even noticed it existed. She was on her usual lunch break, sipping her latte and skimming through her emails when a delivery man rushed past him, struggling with an old wooden crate. The faded sign above the shop door read Willow Antiques and Books, the letters barely legible. Emma, ever curious, watched as the delivery man disappeared inside. Moments later, he came rushing back out, muttering something under his breath, and nearly tripped over the crate she had just delivered. Intrigued, Emma put down her cup and wandered toward the bookstore. Something about that crate seemed off. She pushed open the creaky door, and a soft bell chimed above her. The inside of the shop was dim, the air thick with the smell of old paper and worn leather. Shelves packed with ancient books towered over her, and the light barely reached the far corners of the room. At the back of the shop, behind a desk, cluttered with books and knickknacks, sat an old man, his eyes sharp and keen, slicked up as she entered. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice surprisingly strong for someone so frail. Emma hesitated for a moment, glancing around. "I saw the delivery man. What was in the crate?" The old man's gaze narrowed slightly. "Curious, are we?" Emma shrugged, trying to act casual. "I've never seen this place before. And now this strange delivery. What's in it?" The old man stood, moving slowly toward the crate, which sat on the floor near his desk. He bent down and pried open the lid with an unsettling ease. Inside, nestled among a layer of straw, was an ornate, antique key. It gleamed in the faint light of the shop, its intricate carvings and age-worn surface catching Emma's eye. "This," the old man said, lifting the key with both hands, "is no ordinary key." Emma raised an eyebrow. "It's just a key. What's so special about it?" The old man's lips twitched into a slight smile. "This key," he began, "opens something very old and very forgotten. It's been lost for centuries, and now it has found its way back to me." "Opens what exactly?" Emma asked, her curiosity piqued. He tilted his head toward a door she hadn't noticed before, at the very back of the shop. It was small, almost hidden by the towering shelves, and looked as though it hadn't been opened in decades. Dust and cobwebs covered its surface, but the lock, an ancient and elaborate mechanism, gleamed as if it had just been polished. "That door," he said softly, "leads to somewhere most people have long forgotten." Emma stepped closer, her eyes fixed on the door. "What's behind it?" The old man's smile faded, his expression turning somber. "It's not what's behind the door, Miss Harper. It's what you might find once you open it." She blinked, surprised that he knew her name. "How do you—" "I've been expecting you," he interrupted, his voice quiet but certain. You see, not just anyone can find this shop. Only those who need to. Emma frowned, stepping back slightly. I didn't need anything. I just happened to see exactly, he said, cutting her off again. You saw. Many pass by this place, but very few see it. You've been searching for something, whether you realize it or not. Emma felt a strange chill creep up her spine. The old man was right. She had been searching, ever since her little sister, Lily, disappeared 3 years ago without a trace. She'd been grasping at any hint, any clue that might explain what happened, but no one had answers. No one had seen her. Lily had vanished without a single lead, as if she had stepped out of this world entirely. Her voice barely above a whisper, Emma asked, "What does this have to do with my sister?" The old man's eyes softened. Sometimes the things we lose don't stay lost forever. Sometimes they wait, behind forgotten doors. Emma's heart pounded in her chest. Are you saying Lily is behind that door? The old man didn't answer. Instead, he extended the key towards her. It's cold metal, gleaming in the dim light. Only you can find out. Emma stared at the key, her hands trembling. Every instinct told her that this was insane. She should turn around and leave, forget she had ever set foot in this strange place. But something deeper, a pull she couldn't explain, urged her forward. She took the key. With slow, hesitant steps, she crossed the room to the forgotten door. Her hands shook as she slid the key into the lock. The moment it clicked, a gust of cold air rushed past her, and the door creaked open with a sound that echoed in the stillness of the shop. Behind the door was not what she expected. A long, narrow hallway stretched into the darkness, its walls lined with ancient portraits, each face half familiar yet foreign. At the end of the hallway, a soft light flickered, just out of reach. Without a word, Emma stepped through the doorway. The air felt different here, thick, heavy, as if the weight of time itself pressed down on her. Her footsteps echoed as she moved down the hall, her eyes fixed on the distant light. When she reached the end, she found a single room, small and empty, save for a single object in the center, a mirror. And in the mirror, staring back at her, was her sister Lily. Emma's breath caught in her throat. "Lily," she whispered. But her sister didn't move. She stood in the reflection, her eyes wide and haunted, as if trapped in a world just beyond Emma's reach. Before Emma could speak again, the mirror began to ripple. The reflection of her sister started to fade, replaced by a vast dark forest, trees that stretched endlessly into the distance. Emma reached out to touch the glass, but her hand passed through the silver shimmering like water. "Come back," Emma whispered, but her voice sounded small, lost in the swirling mist beyond the mirror. The reflection was gone. The room around her began to fade, and soon Emma was standing in the bookstore again. The door behind her closed. The key felt warm in her hand. When she turned to the old man, he was gone. The bookstore was empty, silent once more. Emma stood there, her heart heavy. The key still clutched in her hand. She didn't know what she had just witnessed, but one thing was clear. The door had shown her a path, and she wasn't done searching. Thank you guys for watching my very mysterious video. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below, and share. Bye!